I gotta say, man, what is Shaquille O'Neal's issue, man, with I don't like people who can crack on other people, make fun of other people, rib other people, but when you get them back, they get salty. Kenny Smith is like that to an extent as well. But he's not as bad as Shaq, man. Shaq is really, really bad with taking ribbing from other people. Charles Barkley takes it in stride. You know what I mean? Sometimes Shaq says some really fucked up shit to Charles, man. As far as, not having championships and, what is the stuff he used to say? You wouldn't know anything about that. You wouldn't know anything about championships. You don't know about you only been to one finals, and you don't have rings, and some people think you don't belong in the Hall of Fame, bum, and all that, and I passed you up 10 years ago. I got 4 championships. You wouldn't know anything about that. Yada yada yada, and there goes the ring argument again. So basically, because Kenny Smith has 2 rings as a sidekick, that makes him better than Barkley. What about Kenny Smith? For many years, he was on those pathetic ass Sacramento Kings teams. Then he becomes a role player, but alongside the great Hakeem Olajuwon, and then all of a sudden, that makes him better than Charles Barkley, a guy who, for the better part of his peak, the main part of his peak, was on horrible Sixers teams. I mean, this is a guy whose best teammates were people like Rick Mahorn and Johnny Dawkins and the late Charles Shackelford and Mike Jaminski. Mike Jaminski might have been the best player he played with. Him and Rick Mahorn. Those aren't all-star players, man. You know what I'm saying? Charles Barkley was busting his ass in Philly, man. Like I said, Philadelphia hasn't been the same since they traded Moses Malone. They traded him in '86, thinking he was totally done, when he had about 4 more, because, before that, Moses was a 25-point, 30-point, 15, 16 rebound per game guy. By that time, he was a 20 and 10 guy. They thought he was on his way out the door. He was 30, 31 years old. But what they didn't know was that he had about 4 more years of being a 20 and 10 guy. They should have kept him. They gave up too much for Moses. But anyway, Barkley played on some shit teams. Yeah, he did play with the Phoenix Suns, the best Suns team of all time, in my opinion. But unfortunately, for the little part of Charles's peak that was still there, the prime, with the Suns, he happened to play against 2 of the greatest players of their generation, Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. You know what I'm saying? He went to the finals, Barkley, and he played against Michael Jordan. Shaq goes in the finals. He plays against, not to be disrespectful, but the Pacers, who may have been the best team they played in the finals. The Sixer team was really good. I mentioned them in a video recently with my boy 78. They were a very, very good team, but they weren't a historically great team. And that Nets team they played against in 2002 was even worse. So it wasn't like they played against great teams. And then they lost to the Pistons in '04, a series that almost everybody thought that they were going to win. And Shaq was a co-star, if not a sidekick, by 2006 when we won a title with Dwayne Wade. Wade was the showcase in that finals. Wade was the guy that brought them back. So, I mean, Charles Barkley gets really disrespected by a lot of people, man, who don't really know him or follow him when he played. Like they see this fat guy, man, and they think that, oh, this guy couldn't play. He was fat. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of players in the NBA who don't have championships, but they were great, great basketball players. Dominique Wilkins, Alex English, Okay, Adrian Dantley. Okay, these guys would kick virtually everybody in NBA's ass right now. But unfortunately, they never played on teams that had the talent sufficient to go to the finals. But it wasn't like they didn't bust their ass to get there. Sometimes it's luck of the draw. That's all it is sometimes, luck of the draw when it comes to being an NBA champion. Bill Walton looked like he was going to have one of the great NBA careers of all time. But look what injury did. Now, he's still a Hall of Fame because of a UCLA career, but his NBA career is very fragmented. Grant Hill had the potential to become a top, in my opinion, top 10 all-time player. That's how good Grant Hill was in his prime. I think he could have been a top 10 guy. Now, he still wound up having a great career, but, like Anthony Hardaway, it's the luck of the draw, man. And Shaq really needs to get off his high horse about 4 rings, because I don't give a fuck if you do have 4 rings. You're not better than Wilt Chamberlain. And he has this weird thing where he thinks that, I remember someone asked him what was his biggest regret, and he said not passing Wilt Chamberlain points. Dude, even if you hung around the NBA for 4 or 5 more years than you did, and you passed Wilt Chamberlain in points, it would have taken you 23, 24 seasons to pass Wilt Chamberlain in points. Something that he did in 14 seasons. And probably would have done in something like 400 less games. That's not impressive. Okay? It's not. So, kudos to Charles Barkley for putting Shaq in his place, man. Shaq, you're great, man, but come on. I mean, you're full of yourself with this ring shit, man. It just makes you look, when you get defensive like that, it just makes you seem very insecure. Charles Barkley takes a lot. They're always showing him superimposed as some fat, Michelin tire looking dude, man. Some shit like that. And with pastries and shit falling out of his pockets, and he laughs at it. But Shaq, he's so defensive, man. I don't wonder why he's so insecure, man,